your man, Louie T. Welcome to Monday Night Football Overtime. Bucks, Giants, the G-Men put up a hell of a fight. I told y'all that this was not going to be an ass whooping. Now, I did not expect it to be this close. In fact, 25-23 was the final score as the Bucks nearly escaped the Meadowlands with their 6th victory of the season, run their record to 6-2, take sole possession of first place in the NFC South with the victory, but it was not pretty. And this is the second time we've seen this Buccaneers team in primetime television, and this is the second time we've seen them disappoint. This isn't the same team that destroyed the Packers 38-10. This isn't the same team that put up, 24 unanswered points against the Chargers. This isn't the same team that put up 45 just a week ago versus the Raiders. Now, granted, every single one of those teams that I just mentioned don't play the kind of defense that the Giants play. And the last time we saw them on primetime television, they scored 16 and they lost to the Bears, another strong defensive team. If you can play a little bit of defense, you can slow down this Buccaneers football team. That's what's apparent after watching this game. But we'll get into the meat and potatoes of this thing. I was in the MOBB stand up. We in the building. I was in the community chopping it up, watching this game. I told you I was going to set up a stream or set up a chat specifically to watch this game because the Giants are the next game on the slate for Washington. And this is a great opportunity. We've seen them. We saw them just a few weeks ago. But this is a great opportunity to see what the Giants were up to. Last time we didn't see them, they didn't look this good because they didn't have Sterling Shepard. Golden Tate was just working his way back. Darius Slayton was dealing with an ankle and a knee. They're much more healthier now than the last time Washington saw them. So they're a much more capable football team. But I didn't expect them to lose this game by 2 points. But I did expect them to fight. And I remember last night, my man Reed told me, we're gonna put up 40 on these guys. And I said, not so fast, my friend. This Giants team is not what you think. Their record says that they're 1-7. And they don't know how to finish, just like the Chargers. They're a 2-5 team. Why? Because they don't know how to finish. The Falcons are a 2-5 team, 2-6 team. Why? Because they don't know how to finish. Their record indicates that they're not playing winning football, but that doesn't mean they're not capable of giving you a run for your money. The same thing I said when you play the Falcons in the division, even though those two games are at the end of your schedule, and who knows what the Falcons' mindset will be then. This Buccaneers team, while they're good, they're not great. They're very beatable. Okay, this is why I'm not sold on them. It's the same reason I look at Pittsburgh and I'm like, something's off. I can tell you this, there is no dominant team in the NFL. Anybody can win the Super Bowl this year. There are probably about 5 teams in the AFC that could come away. I wouldn't be shocked if they represented the AFC in the Super Bowl. And there are probably another 3 or 4 teams in the NFC where I look at it and say, I wouldn't be shocked if they were in the Super Bowl. This thing is wide open. It hasn't been this wide open in quite some time from a perspective of both conferences, because in the past it was always, it's going to be New England or it's going to be Kansas City. I think people are sleeping on Kansas City. I talked about that on the podcast earlier today. But when you look at a game like this, you say, look, this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team isn't invincible. They're very, very vulnerable. They're very, very beatable. And when you look at, some of the other teams that are quote unquote exceptional teams this year, record-wise, like Seattle or Green Bay or New Orleans or any of these teams that have, better records in the league right now, all of them are beatable. All of them have some kind of glaring weakness that you can expose. So I think this was another one of those games that did it. But, for the Giants, and we'll talk about the Giants. I want to get to the victors first. We'll come back and talk about the Giants because there's so much to unpack with this Giants football team. This is such an agonizing loss, but you've seen this before if you're a Giants fan. This isn't the first time you've seen this. It's very agonizing, but we'll get to that. Let's talk about the Buccaneers first because there are a number of things that I want to get to. Number one, this is a football team that I think has the ability to win the Super Bowl and represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. They're good enough to do that. But I will tell you that they're still a young team. And, it's amazing. Brady shows up and everybody wants to just ignore the fact that this is still a young Buccaneers football team. I would talk about this all the time last year when Jameis Winston was at the helm and they were giving up points by the boatload, and everybody was blaming the secondary. Oh, this secondary stinks, and we're giving up 40, and Jameis is doing this and he's doing that. Yeah, he was throwing interceptions. He was also throwing touchdown passes too. And, everyone was just pointing to the secondary. Oh, our defense is horrible. It's atrocious. And I'm like, the secondary is young. They're going to make mistakes. Well, what the hell do you think the secondary is now? Just because they're a year older, they're still not young? You still got young guys out there. You got a rookie at safety. You got a third-year safety in Jordan Whitehead. You got a couple of young corners out there in Davis and Sean Murphy Bunting. And you got another young corner out there, the kid from Auburn. This is a young secondary. You should have given up 30-plus tonight. If Daniel Jones wasn't so hasty in his decision-making, you would have given up 30-plus tonight. Despite Daniel Jones struggling and throwing 2 interceptions and missing countless open receivers, you still gave up 23 to a Giants team that struggles to score on a weekly basis. If Daniel Jones doesn't miss open guys, doesn't turn down opportunities for big plays, you had corners standing in cement on the night. Guys running right by them with no safety help and easy touchdowns. This Buccaneers defense, while it's feast or famine with the Buccaneers defensively, they're either really good and you're like, man, this defense is something else. They're getting after the quarterback. They're forcing turnovers, and they're just eating. And you're like, man, they're fast, they're physical, they're nasty. And you're like, man, if they can play like this all the time, but they can't, that's the problem. But if they can play like this all the time, who's going to beat them? Not with Brady under center, not with Gronk, and not with Mike Evans. They're going to get Antonio Brown. I don't know for how long. But, you throw in all of the guys that they have, Scotty Miller and Cameron Brate, and all of these receivers. They'll eventually get Godwin back. They got all this stuff. What are you going to do? But then there's the games where you go, what the hell is this? Like the Chargers game. Like this game. Okay? Even for 3.5 quarters, like the Raiders game. The first quarter versus the Packers, where they couldn't get stops necessarily in that game. There's something to this defense. They're feast or famine. When they're on, man, are they hard to deal with. When they're not, they can be beaten. They can be got. They're young, and they're going to make mistakes still. If that front four doesn't hit home, and I got to give credit to that Giants offensive line, they did a pretty goddamn good job of protecting Daniel Jones tonight. He had ample time to make smart, fast, quick, and accurate decisions, and he failed to do so in a timely manner. This was a winnable football game, and the Buccaneers should be counting their blessings that they were playing against this team in the NFC. Any other team in the division with the kind of defensive performance, and that's the thing. I don't know if any other team outside of Philadelphia, maybe Washington, is able to give you the defensive performance you got out of this Giants group tonight. But any other team in the division, if you get this kind of defensive performance, any other team in the division, you lose tonight. You lose. Because Daniel Jones, well, I shouldn't say that. But Carson Wentz isn't going to allow you to get away with some of the stuff you got away. We can talk about the mistakes that Carson Wentz makes, okay? The turnovers and trying to do too much. He didn't have to do too much. He just had to make throws when they were there to be made. Carson Wentz would have carved your ass up tonight. So there's something to be said about this Buccaneers defense. They're feast or famine. When they're on, man, are they strong. When they're off, they look soft, okay? So there's that. The offense tonight. Brady was off tonight early. Thought he kind of got into a rhythm in the second half of this game, but he missed some open targets. I didn't think they were as sharp. That first drive looked impressive, and then it flamed out. And after that, I thought this Buccaneers offense was flaccid for the remainder of the first half. You get the field goal late, but this wasn't an impressive performance. You were missing guys down the field, and you got to give some credit to the Giants secondary, whether you're talking about Isaac Yakum, who made a good play down the sideline. I thought Jabril Peppers was great all night long. All night long. All night. Oh. All night long. All night. All night. He was everywhere. I thought Jabril Peppers had a great game. I even thought that James Bradbury, despite the penalty late, was actually pretty good in this game as well. I thought that collectively the Giants did a lot of, the Giants defensively did a lot of things that really gave Brady some fits in this game. They showed a clip of Brady thinking he was going to get man on the outside, or at least a zone where he converts to man and no one would be underneath. And they drop an underneath zone dropping defender, a hook dropping defender right underneath Evans coming back to the ball, and it confused Brady. Like, the Giants got to give credit where credit is due. The Giants were good. And also, don't forget who the coach of the Giants is, okay? Former Patriots assistant, okay? He knows Brady. He knows what he likes, what he doesn't like. So you got to give credit where credit is due. And I told you, I love Joe Judge as a head coach. I think he's going to be a fantastic head coach in this league. But they flustered Brady a little bit. You know, confused him with some of the things he was seeing. Brady was a little off. He wasn't the sharpest. Got to credit the Giants for some of that. When this Buccaneers offense is on, and I feel the same way about their offense. They're feast or famine. When they're off, you can see a performance like we saw against the Saints in week 1. You can see a performance like we saw in week 5 against the Bears. You can see a performance like we saw, or week 4, whatever that was. I think it was week 5. Or you can see a performance like we saw today. You know, where they're just a little off kilter, and it's off enough that they can be beaten. But when they're on, you can get an explosion like you did in a 3-minute stretch where you give up 3 touchdowns, and the lead goes from 4 at 24-20 to 45-20. Okay, or what happened in Green Bay? It's 10-0 going into the second quarter, and the defense explodes. So does the offense. 38 unanswered points later, you're looking at an ass whooping 38-10. When they're on offensively, good luck. You're gonna need it. When they're not, however, when you get Brady, and I thought, even though there weren't a ton of sacks tonight, I thought the Giants continuously got Brady off of his spot. They got Brady to turn down number 1. They got Brady to turn down number 2. There were a lot of checkdowns in this game. Again, give the Giants credit defensively. That didn't happen by itself. They forced that. They made Brady go to his 3rd and 4th option. They made Brady check it down to Fournette and Ronald Jones underneath. They made Brady uncomfortable tonight. And we've seen what an uncomfortable Brady looks like over the years, not just this year, over the years. So we got a taste of what the Buccaneers can be reduced to. Again, and we saw it against the Bears, but we got a taste of what they can be reduced to when they're not on their best. They weren't sharp offensively nor defensively in this game. And the more and more I watch them offensively, the more and more I understand they do actually need Antonio Brown. That's a fact. Like, I thought it was overkill initially. Like, what are you doing? And I get it. You know, Chris Godwin is out, and when he comes back, it might be overkill. But for the time being, Mike Evans is not himself right now. You can tell he's not 100%. He is just out there giving it all he's got. But he's not even 80% right now. You can tell. You can tell. There's not enough stuff out there. There's not enough stuff. So I think Antonio Brown, AB, is coming back at the perfect time. I really do. And you know what? This was a nice little. Every time Buccaneers fans want to run off, off the plug, and twice, they need a cold dose of reality. This was that tonight. And usually that cold dose of reality comes when everybody's watching. It's not on a Sunday afternoon at 4:25, and it's not on a Sunday afternoon at 1. It's usually on a Thursday or a Sunday or a Monday night. So everybody starts to question whether this team is elite or not. I know the entire time I'm in the chat, I got people questioning, how good is this Buccaneers team anyway? I'm like, no, they're really good. The Giants are just better than people think. And that's my perfect segue to the Giants in this game, because I've been telling people all along, hey, this Giants defense, man. I've watched every Giants game this year. That's the problem, is people, they just look at the record and the Giants stink. I say, look, this division is trash. The Giants stink, but they stink because of their offense, not their defense. I was pleasantly surprised with this Giants defense early in the season because I said they made all these moves in the offseason, but the only one that I'm really sold on, and I like Blake Martinez. I don't love Blake Martinez. Kyler Fackrell is cool, but whatever. You know, I'm looking at these acquisitions and I'm thinking the only one I love is James Bradberry. All the rest of these dudes, all right, whatever. It's come together nicely. It's coming together really nicely because I watched the Giants in that, and you did too, in week 1 on Monday night versus the Steelers. It was 16-10 on a marathon 19-play drive, 1st and goal, and Daniel Jones throws an inexplicable interception. If they score a touchdown on that possession, they have a chance to take the lead in the 3rd quarter of that game versus Pittsburgh. They were in that game. The defense was playing outstanding. They weren't on the road, and they were down 17-0 at halftime versus the Bears. They shut the faucet off in the second half, crawled back within 17-13, and had the ball at the 13-yard line with a chance to win the game on the final snap. This Giants team plays defense. It was 10-9 versus the Rams with 6 minutes left in the 4th quarter before Cooper Kupp goes off for a 65-yard touchdown to put the game away, essentially. And the Giants still came down the field, had a chance, and Daniel Jones throws an interception to end the game. They're in ball games because this defense, outside of the 49ers game, where they got their asses whooped, they've been in just about every game this season because of their defense. And you can throw the Cowboys game in there. They didn't play great defense that day. Outside of those 2 games, San Francisco and Dallas, they've pretty much played exceptional defense this year, kept the score manageable, which gives them a chance because they don't want to get into a shootout with anybody. They're really not capable offensively unless you turn it over. So I know what this defense is capable of, and I told everybody in the chat tonight, MOBB, stand up. We in the building. I told everybody in the chat tonight, in the community, they're going to lose this game close because they don't know how to win. But I told you they're going to keep this game close. I didn't expect it to be this close. I'm not going to sit here and try to take credit for that. I thought it was going to be 31-10, but I thought it was going to get away from them in the 4th quarter. I thought this game was going to be 17-10. Into the 4th quarter, they're hanging tough, and then Daniel Jones does something stupid. They score a touchdown, and then they get another stop, and boom, just like that, just like the Raiders game last week, it was 24-20 with 7 minutes left. Boom, boom. Next thing you know, it's 45-20. I thought that was going to happen tonight, but it was going to be 17-10 in the 4th quarter. Giants hanging around, and then the Buccaneers pull away. And if you woke up tomorrow morning, if you went to sleep early in the game when the Giants were down 17-3 and you thought, okay, they about to get blown out, and you wake up and you see 31-10, you say, okay, yeah, they got their ass whipped. You wouldn't have known that this game was 17-10 with 9 minutes and 47 seconds left in the 4th quarter and the Giants were hanging tough. And then Daniel Jones made a mistake as they were driving for points. That's what this Giants team has been this season. And you saw it again tonight. I knew they weren't going to win the game. It would have been a nice story if they would have gotten this to overtime. But I said they're not going to win the game. And that's exactly why. And I thought Bruce Arians did the right thing. And I said, Bruce, don't be stupid. The Giants have some real beef burners down there, okay? Boys, you don't want to run the football. Some real turf monsters down there. Dalvin Tomlinson, all right? The kid from Clemson. They got, Williams that they traded for. They got some real beasts down in the trenches. I wouldn't run for this. I wouldn't quarterback sneak this if I were you. Take the points, make it an 8-point game, and force Daniel Jones and its anemic Giants offense to drive the length of the field, score a touchdown, and then have to get 2. They did that, and that ultimately proved to be the difference in the game because if they don't do that and they get stopped, which is a real possibility against this Giants front, they lose the game by 1. More likely than not, Giants scored a touchdown, go for 2, don't get it, but they still more likely than not lose this game. Well, Brady and company might have had timeouts left, and they might have played the game differently, and they might have still went down and got a game-winning field goal. Who knows? Bottom line is, Arians did the right thing by electing to kick that field goal, and it turned out to save him in this game, and Brady wanted to go for it. It was the right decision. Go up by. It's the same thing that Zimmer didn't do earlier this year versus the Seahawks and Russell Wilson, and they ended up losing that game. Make the right decision. Go up by 8. The worst thing you can do is lose this game in overtime. That's what you got to be thinking. I will not lose this game, however, in regulation. Either I'm walking away with a victory in regulation, or you're going to have to beat me in overtime. And again, generally, the better team finds a way to win in overtime. If we're going to go extra frames, the better team is going to prove themselves out in the end, and they're ultimately going to win the football game. So you don't let yourself get beat in regulation. It was a smart decision. It was the right decision by Arians, and it proved to be the difference in the game. You know, those 2 points proved to be the difference in the game as they end up winning this game 25-23. Now, you got to talk about Daniel Jones. That's the elephant in the room. He was not sharp in the second half of this game. Some big time mistakes, costly mistakes, especially the second one. You know, the first one, you're like, dude, why? But the second one, you're like, all right, dude, seriously? Like, after the second one, I'm like, do I need to bench your ass? If I'm Joe Judge and I'm sitting here, it's 15-14 or 17-14, 15, whatever it was at that point. Do I need to put Colt McCoy in the game right now? Like those are the thoughts that go through your head, because this is the same shit I done told your ass to stop doing. Same shit. How many times you gonna do the same shit over and over again? I'm not even a damn Giants fan, but that shit's gotta be frustrating. Stop doing that. He could have fumbled that before he even threw the damn pick. The ball is just dangling out there. Put the shit away. So I'm thinking to myself, hey, look, man, I don't know how much more of this shit I can take. At least Carson Wentz had the Eagles at one point 11-1 and looked like he was going to win an MVP. At least I know what he's capable of. You can take some turnovers from a dude that has shown you, hey, man, I can do this shit at an elite level. Trust me. Go check my resume. Let the record reflect what I've done in this league. There's none of that for Daniel Jones. All we know is turnovers. Anytime you're in the same conversation with Ryan Leaf, look, man, I'm at this point, you're like, hey, look, man, how many times can we tell you the same goddamn thing? And you just don't get it. The one thing I can't take, if I'm a coach, and I tell my kids this, I tell the youth of America this, everybody makes mistakes. And I always talk about sports being a microcosm of life. Same thing in sports, same thing in life. Everybody makes mistakes. It's the people that learn from their mistakes and don't repeat them over and over again that are prosperous, that succeed in sports and in life. You're going to make mistakes. That's how you learn. How do you think a 2-year-old learns? Not to touch that. It's hot. Okay, that's hot. Don't touch that. Now they learn. They're not going to touch that again. But what happens when you keep doing the same shit over and over again? It means you don't get it. And if you don't get it, I can't deal with that kind of incompetence. I can't. I don't have time. So that's, and I feel like this drive that he went on at the end of the game is going to save him. Because up until that point, and he tried to throw two interceptions on that same drive. If Buccaneer defenders could catch, he probably wouldn't have even had the chance to redeem himself. He tried to throw a pick on that last drive. He tried his damnedest. That was a terrible throw that Levante David should have picked off. So at the same time, I'm saying, do you get it or do you not get it? It's a simple question. If you don't get it, that's fine. On to the next one. Let me go on to the next quarterback, man. Because the Giants are going to be in a position to more likely to not draft a quarterback this year. If you're not the guy, just tell me now so I can move on. This defense is ready. They're ready to do some damage. They're a pass rusher away. One pass rusher. One guy that they can say, hey, that's a double-digit sack getter. They're one pass rusher away from this defense being problematic. So if you're not ready to lead this team, let me know now so I can find the guy that will lead this team and we can proceed. So, Jay, I'm going to tell you right, this last 8-game stretch for Daniel Jones is massive. He keeps doing the shit he did tonight. They'll be looking for a new quarterback at season's end. 2021's draft or in the offseason when some of these guys become available, if Matt Ryan becomes, they'll be looking for a new quarterback. Whether they go veteran or they go young guy, they'll be looking for a new signal caller. If he can't calm down these turnovers because it's getting old fast. And, you know, I heard Giants fans saying, look, man, we not looking for no more moral victories. That shit is old now. Now we want results. This defense played well enough to win. Even the most pettiest and hateful Washington fans in the community tonight was like, yo, this is some bullshit. This Giants defense did not deserve an L tonight. They couldn't have been more right. And they didn't. Those guys don't want to give the Giants any credit. They want nothing more than to see the Giants lose. But that was a hell of a defensive performance against a high-octane Buccaneers offense that was averaging up over 30 a game. Those boys barely sniffed 20 tonight. And if not for Daniel Jones' assistance, they don't find 20 tonight. So, something's got to be done there. That's a hell of a throw to Golden Tate late in the game. We see the talent, man. The talent is undeniable. We know it exists. He can run. He's got an arm. He can make plays. We've seen all of that. But the turnovers outweigh the playmaking ability. And when you're missing shit, that 2-point conversion, it don't get much easier than that. Don't tell me that Deion Lewis wasn't the first read on that play. What are you looking at? The man came in motion for you to set the pick so he could get open. He's wide ass open and you take 2 hitches and then throw him the football. It's almost as if you were waiting for the Buccaneers defender, Antoine Winfield Jr., to get there before you threw the ball. What are you doing? Seriously. That should have been a 25-25 all game. It don't get much easier than that on a 2-point conversion. And if you're out there and you're a Washington fan, that's a 2-point conversion play right there. That's the same shit I was saying. Bunch formation, send a guy in motion, run his ass out into the flats. Good luck trying to cover that shit, especially if you're playing man and they were. How the hell do you miss that? Like I said, he missed too much. He made too many mistakes. And after a while, that gets old. So we'll see what they decide to do with Daniel Jones. If he continues to do this, I can tell you this much. If I'm a Giants fan, this is getting old fast. So much so that I'm in my mind telling myself, I don't know if this guy's the right man for the job. All right. I want to get to your comments. I've said enough. So let me pull up the comments on my device so I can see what is going on. And I know I got some super chats, so I do know I need to get to those first. So I'm going to get to that right now. And I'm going to knock those out, and then we'll get to the comment section. Remember, if you're out there and you're brand new to the channel, welcome to the LouieTeeNetwork. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on that notification bell. And hit that like button as well. Help your man Louie T out there also. So I'm going to get to these super chats first, and then we'll get to the comment. And if you're out there and you're brand new and you've already subbed up and you've already turned on that notification bell, use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air if it is pertinent. If you're just talking to somebody else in the chat, carry on. All right. Let's get to oh man. All right, here go the super chats right here. G-Man, first super chat is from King of the North. King of the North writes, G-Men DBs were outstanding tonight. That D is good. Indeed it is, and that's what I was talking about in the community tonight. This defense was good. Yadicum played well, had a big knockaway. Like I said, all night long, Jabril Peppers, he's turned into a much better safety than I thought he was going to when he was drafted out of Michigan. I thought he was a positionless player. I didn't think he would evolve into a really good NFL safety. I thought he was like a hybrid backer / safety, like no real position. He's morphed into a really good NFL safety, man. He can cover, he can run, he can tackle. I really like Jabril Peppers. That's a good trade Not a lot of things I like about what Dave Gettleman has done for the Giants, but that was a good trade for the Giants. He's really proven to be huge for them defensively. Fat American. Thank you for the super chat. Fat American who writes, I said it in the MOBB squad, the mob squad, and I'll say it again. 2021 belongs to either the Giants or Washington. I see a bright future for these two teams. You did say that in the community, however, something has to be said. Both of these teams right now, as it stands, don't necessarily have their quarterback of the future. If this continues with the Giants, I don't know how they feel about Daniel Jones. I could be overreacting, but the guy's thrown, 9 interceptions now, accounted for 13 turnovers this season, or is it 10 now after the second interception, or is it just 9? Whatever it is, I know he's third in the league in interceptions. He's tied for second or something like that with turnovers. It's getting to a point now where you're like, maybe this is in his DNA and he's never going to change. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. I don't think Kyle Allen is necessarily the guy in Washington, but he's got some time to prove whether he can or can't be the guy. But in order to say that a team is going to take possession of a division, you got to have a signal caller. Your defense can't be the only thing that you're hanging your hat on. You got to be able to score points in this league to win consistently and close out ball games and take advantage of opportunities like the ones the Buccaneers were giving the Giants over and over again tonight. You don't have a quarterback that's going to take advantage of that. You're not going to be able to win games on a consistent enough basis to say that team is going to elevate themselves over the rest of any division, even this division that looks to be one of the worst ever. Thank you for the super chat, Fat American. Got one here from Emperor Meech. Thank you for the super chat, Emperor Meech. Greatly appreciate you. Emperor Meech writes, your boy Ree, who was talking crazy about the Bucs last night, needs to really humble himself, talking 30-point blowout tonight and beat NO. He said, this team can be had and plays down to the comp. They can be had. I feel the exact same way, Emperor Meech. And I told Ree last night, this is not what you think it is. This is not, and this is the thing. He hasn't watched a down of Giants football this year. Maybe he watched the first game versus the Steelers, but Ree is one of those dudes that he focuses a lot on his team. Doesn't really watch everything that's going on with other teams. He'll catch a primetime game every now and again, but he's really focused on his boys. He'll tell you anything about the Bucs you want to know. I don't think he watched enough Giants football to know what he was getting himself into. That was the problem. And I tried to warn him, this is not what you think it is. Okay? The Steelers had to find that out in week 1. The Bears had to find that out. The Rams had to find that out. This is not what you think it is, man. Be careful what you sign up for with these Giants. They're dangerous. Luckily enough, they got Daniel Jones that's going to give you a chance to beat them. But they're dangerous defensively. Look out. They had to find that out tonight. And yeah, they need to worry about beating New Orleans. But they can be had. I feel the exact same way. And Buccaneers fans usually tell me, oh, you a hater, you don't like the Bucs. No, it's not that I don't like the Bucs. I just see some of your flaws. That's it. And I call them out. And you want to ignore them. They're there. They exist. There were plays left on the field. There was a lot of meat left on the bone tonight by this Giants offense, for sure. Fat American, double up, thank you for doubling up. Greatly appreciate you, Fat American, who writes, the NFC East, I know exactly what you were talking about. Trust me, I know exactly what you were talking about. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor writes, Macho Man Ran T Savage. Ooh, yeah. We play, it says, we play Tampa Bay? No, we don't play Tampa Bay. Not this year. That was one of those cross matchups where you play the team that finished in the same exact spot as you in the division last year. So the Giants finished in 3rd place in the NFC East last year. So they played the 3rd place team in the 2 divisions that we don't play head to head. We play the NFC West head to head. So everybody in the division plays all 4 of those teams. And in the other 2 divisions that we don't play, the NFC South and the NFC North, you're going to play the 3rd place team. The Giants are playing the 3rd place team. Washington is playing the last place team. So we got the Lions, and we got from the NFC North, and in the NFC South, we got the Panthers. So that's how that works. So no, we don't play the Buccaneers this year. Let's see. Emperor Meech, double up, Thank you for doubling up, Emperor Meech. Greatly appreciate you. Emperor Meech writes, I just felt like donating again. You're my guy, so what the F not? Why the F not? Thank you. I really appreciate you. Good podcast, Pat. Good podcast again, but we need another memory lane episode, something like the 09 draft. Yeah, I'm going to throw it back here before. You know, I always get nostalgic around Thanksgiving. It'll probably be the week before Thanksgiving because, you know, that's my bye week. The week of Thanksgiving is my bye week. So I'll probably throw it back, go down memory lane, and we'll take a trip down and look at one of those drafts or something like that. So, hey, I appreciate you, as always, Emperor Meech, man. Big ups, and your boys should have won this game. I know you're trying your hardest, and there was a report, and I thought about you. When I read that, the first person I thought about was you. When I read the report that Dave Gettleman is kind of skating on thin ice, and more likely than not, he's going to be fired at season's end. First person I thought about was you. And if you want Gettleman gone, you can't win these games. You got to lose these games. And you did. So we'll see what happens at the end of the season with him. Thank you once again for doubling up, Emperor Meech. DMV fan 123, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, who has the best defense in the NFC East? I really believe that distinction goes to the Giants right now, simply because unlike Washington, they don't give up big plays. Washington gives up too many big plays to be considered the best defense in the division. If Washington could eliminate giving up big plays, I think they could be the best defense because I think their pass rush is better than that of the Giants. But when I look at this Washington defense, too many times we talk about if they didn't give this up and if they didn't give that up, man, this was a hell of a defensive performance. Well, guess what, Greg Minuski Jr., you did give that up. Those do count. And so because of that, the Giants, when I watch them, they don't give up big play. They make you earn everything that you get. Rarely do you see somebody getting over the top of the Giants defense for a 67-yard touchdown. Rarely do you see, they'll have a breakdown every now and again, but sometimes that's from being over-aggressive. Like the Cooper Kupp touchdown, that was them being over-aggressive, coming after Jared Goff. It was zero coverage across the board. Cooper Kupp caught their guy in man-to-man coverage, beat him over the middle, and there was nobody there over the middle of the field to stop him from going the distance. The Giants rarely get beat. Like, they don't have mental breakdowns. Guys play their zones, do what they're supposed to do, and so because of that, I think the Giants, and it's neck and neck, and don't count out the Eagles either. They play quality defense, but I've seen them get gashed enough this season to feel like, they're all right, but I'm not afraid of them. I think it's the Giants or Washington, and I really think it's the Giants, really. I think Washington is a very, very close second. It's like 1A, 1B. Let's see. Cruising 26, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Cruising 26, who writes, Louie T, it's frustrating. Same damn mistakes. And that's essentially what I said. Like, at some point, either you're going to stop making the same mistakes or I got to cut bait. I can't keep dealing with the same thing because it's not like they haven't told him this over and over and over again. It's nauseating to have to keep telling someone the same thing. Eventually, you just get tired of little Timmy making the same mistakes. And you just say, you know what, little Timmy, come sit next to me on the bench. I'm going to put Jacob in the game, man. You just sit here and just watch for a little while. And maybe I'll put you back in, maybe I won't. But, after a while, you gotta pay for your mistakes. Because if you don't, you think it's okay to keep making the same mistakes. And I don't really know what else to do if you're the Giants because I know that they're pounding this into his head. You got to protect the Duke, as your boy used to say. Got to protect the Duke. He doesn't value possessions. And again, some of these quarterbacks, we know them, we see them. Carson Wentz is a prime example. Don't know when to say when. I think Joe Burrow is another one of those guys that doesn't necessarily know. And I told you that was one of my biggest knocks on Joe Burrow coming out of LSU. Doesn't know when to say when. But eventually, as the mistakes start to pile up and the coaching staff starts to get on your ass about, hey, look, man, we would have won this game if not for this mistake, and this miss. We can't have that. And eventually, you have to value the other 52 guys in the locker room over one guy. Eventually, you get to the point where you say, okay, the other 52 guys in the locker room are sacrificing enough to win games on a weekly basis, and you are stopping us from winning. So we're going to remove the one guy that's the problem, insert someone else, and we're going to keep the train rolling. So I don't know. I don't think you're at that point yet, because nobody want this. It's like the Eli Manning situation a couple of years back when they decided to bench him in favor of Geno Smith. Like, it'd be one thing if you had a second round pick. What was the kid you drafted out of Syracuse that had some issues off the field? I think it was Syracuse. It had some issues off the field and ultimately didn't work out. But it'd be something, like a guy like that where you got a dude on the bench and you're like, hey, let's see what he can do. Yeah, you could bench Eli. He's struggling, doesn't really have his fastball, and that's what really got Jerry Reese and Ben McAdoo fired. And at that point, they didn't give a shit. Neither one of those dudes gave a shit at that point. They probably knew they were getting fired. But you don't bench Eli Manning for Geno Smith. That's not what we're doing. And I feel the same way about Colt. You're not benching Daniel Jones for Colt McCoy. Because there's no upside there. We know what Colt McCoy is. You're not winning this division. Okay, you had your chances. You're not winning this division. So you just let Daniel Jones keep playing, but if he keeps making the same mistakes, at some point you got to tell yourself, all right, he's not the guy. Even if he keeps playing, okay, no, he's not the guy. We're going to have to find somebody in the offseason. Cruising 26. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Cruising 26. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, that's exactly what I said. One pass rusher away. Look, I watched all of these games. I watched every single one of them intently, especially family members. But I watch all of the league. I can tell you about your team. And if you're a Titans fan or you're a Bengals fan, I can tell you about your team. Maybe not as good as you because you get into the granular, everyday details of your team, which is what you're supposed to do. Which is why I love talking to every single one of you, because you know more about you, or at least you should know more about your team than I do, and you give me more information. I only can tell you what I see. You can tell me what's being said on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, which I won't be able to tell you about. But I watch these games and I can tell you, you one pass rusher away. You're one Washington loss a season ago to the Redskins away from having Chase Young and having an elite defense right now. Right now. And so if you can find a way to get your hands on one of those dudes, Gregory Rousseau, Mama named him Gregory. I'm gonna call him Gregory. You get your hands on one of those guys, and you'll be in a position to draft a Gregory Rousseau. This defense could turn from really good to elite. So we'll see what happens. Let's see. Got another super chat. This one is from Fat American. Thank you for the super chat, Fat American. Tripling up. Really appreciate you, Fat American. Thank you so much for the support. Who writes, off topic. How would you rate Kyle Smith so far? Do you think he should be our GM? I love Kyle Smith. I trust Kyle Smith wholeheartedly, more than I've ever trusted a GM during or anyone in personnel during the Daniel Snyder era. That's all you need to know. That's not saying much. It's a low bar. You're talking about Vinny Serrato and Bruce Allen and Mike Shanahan. None of these guys are proven. Scott McCloughan. I trust him more than anybody we've had in this organization. Period. I think this guy's done a tremendous job of identifying talent. He's done a really good job of finding us undrafted gems over the years. And I think Kyle Smith definitely should be the GM. I don't know if they're going to give him the title or not, but he's the de facto GM as we sit here. So only thing that's missing is the official title. I don't know if they're going to give it to him or not, but I'd like to see him get it because I think it means something to him. I think he feels like he needs to have that title. And if you're not going to give it to him and someone else decides that, hey, this guy's pretty sharp, then you're going to have to do something. But nobody's looking to poach anything away from us. So I think he's safe in Washington. I really do like Kyle Smith. Thank you for the super chat, Fat American. Let's see. I got another super chat here. This one is from Emperor Meech. Again, tripling up. I appreciate you, Emperor Meech. Really do. Thank you so much for the super chat and tripling up. Emperor Meech writes, that's exactly why I needed y'all to win, but y'all boy Kyle Bumass failed me. Don't give me them false hopes to keep Gettleman. Also, Jones is always trash. I know you want to lose and get look, I was in the exact same spot you are in now. I wanted Bruce Allen gone at all costs. And that meant I had to do something that is sacrilegious for me, which is root against my team. But I needed him gone, and I needed the worst season of Washington football these eyes have ever seen. I needed that not to go in vain. So I said, if we're going to be this bad, I don't ever want to do this again. So if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to dip my toe in some of the worst football I've ever seen, I need to be able to come out of this saying, at least we got that. That prize was Chase Young. Getting rid of Bruce Allen was objective number one. We got that done. Hiring Ron Rivera, that was a great get. But the biggest get of last season, if you're going to be that bad and if you're going to have all these issues, you better come away with something that's going to help change your franchise. We did that last year. The problem with you with Dave Gettleman is there are no guarantees that even if you get the number 2 pick in the draft, that he's not going to F it up. That's why you have to get rid of him. Because he'll do something like draft Andrew Thomas at 3. You just don't want to put yourself in a position where the guy picking the groceries is going to pick some shit that the grocery store moved to the front so that you as a dumbass pick it up thinking, yeah, I'll use these in 4 days and the expiration date is tomorrow. And by the time you go to use them, they're not any good. What good is it that you're a master chef, but you're picking bad ingredients? Dave Gettleman is not capable of putting together quality selections at the top of the draft, let alone, and he's found some gems. Darius Slayton is a gem. He's a gem. It's a good pick. He's found some other guys that have turned out to be really good for you. Dalvin Tomlinson is a good football player. Damn good football player. He's found some gems. I'm not going to sit here and shit on him like he hasn't found and unearthed some gems for you guys. But there are far more duds and guys that you said, why did you do that? Far more trades that make you scratch your head than, him making smart decisions. So, I'm with you. I know exactly what you're trying to do. And we'll see what y'all do with not only Dave Gettleman, but Daniel Jones in the offseason. I'm really intrigued because I look at this Giants team and I'm like, that's a scary team. When people say, hey man, the Giants can win this division, they're not winning it this year. They've lost too many games. But had they won just 1 or 2 of these close contests, they might, you could argue, they beat Philadelphia last week. If Evan Ingram catches that goddamn football last week versus the Eagles, even at 2-6, I'm sitting here saying, hey man, look out for the goddamn Giants. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, but at 1-7, nah, not this year, but like my man Fat American said, why not next year? It's going to take a quarterback to do that. And maybe Daniel Jones gets it in year 3. Maybe he becomes Josh Allen in year 3, and that's why I'm not saying you got to get rid of him or you got to give up on him. He could turn into to Josh Allen in year 3. But remember, in year 2, Josh Allen took his team to the playoffs. This defense is good enough to be a playoff team. Josh Allen took the Bills to the playoffs in year 2 because the defense was good and Allen did just enough. You're not getting that out of Daniel Jones right now. He's still costing you ball games. You see what I'm saying? Josh Allen wasn't costing his team ball games last year. He just wasn't ready to win them any games by himself. Big difference. Got another super chat here. Clumsy Jedi 26. Thank you for the super chat, Clumsy Jedi 26, who writes, I predict Chase Young to dominate this week against the G-Men, and the defense should come away with 4 turnovers. Kyle continues to grow and develop. That'd be nice, but until we actually create that many turnovers, the Cowboys were a bumbling, stumbling mess, and yet we were only able to force 1 turnover in that game. So until we're able, Daniel Jones, he is the epitome of a walking turnover. How many turnovers did we force against the Giants? 1. So until we're able to force more than just 1 turnover in a game, I can't think of a game in which we forced multiple turnovers other than the Ravens game. Since week 1 against the Eagles, we forced 1 turnover versus the Cardinals, picked off Kyler Murray early in that game. We didn't force any against Baker Mayfield and company, I don't believe. We didn't force any against the Rams or I think the Ravens were next. We didn't force any against the Ravens. We forced 2, against the Ravens, but one of them was in garbage time versus Bob Griffin. We didn't force any against the Rams. We forced 1 against the Giants. We forced 1 against the Cowboys. So was it 1? I know we forced a fumble of DiNucci, but we didn't recover it. I think we forced, safety doesn't count as a turnover. I think, did we even force a turnover in that game? Now that I think about it, I felt like we did force a turnover in that game. Whatever the case may be. I know last time I looked at the statistics, I think we were -1 in the turnover ratio. So not only are we not producing turnovers, we're not turning it over a ton ourselves. We're just not forcing enough turnovers. So until we actually have that breakout game, and I'm hoping that this Giants game marks the beginning of this defense starting to really create and wreak havoc. And it starts the second half of the season where you start to see this defense start to dominate. The defense has been good. It hasn't been great. Don't let anybody lie to you. Like the #1 pass defense statistic, I've already told you it's trash. I haven't gone into the reasons because I don't really feel it's necessary to go into the reasons why it's a paper stat for us. But if you're smart enough, you can kind of figure out why that stat isn't really worth the paper that it's on. You know what I mean? We got to start enforcing our will on other teams defensively. And it'd be nice to start it against the Giants because, as you can see, if you put pressure on Daniel Jones, which we did not do the first time around, which is why you only had 1 turnover, and coincidentally enough, the 1 turnover we got, there was pressure in his face. Chase Young bull rushed their left tackle right into his lap. Or it might have been a pulling guard. It was a dumb formation, I think, by the Giants that allowed Chase to have an opportunity. Or it might have just been a straight bull rush. Whatever the case may be. He had pressure in his lap. He forced it and threw a pick. We need more of that in the second half of this season. Anyway, got another super chat here. This one is from Extra Squaw. Thank you for the super chat, Extra Squaw. Greatly appreciate you. Extra Squaw says, when is the breakout game for Chase Young? It's coming in the second half. It's coming, This is the thing. There was so much hype surrounding him coming into the season, into the league, that it was only going to take 1 performance for teams to say, hey, bro, you're not doing that to us. It came in week 1. He had a sack and a half. He had a forced fumble. I thought he actually had 2 forced fumbles. I think he got jerked around by one of them. I thought he had 2 forced fumbles in that game. And after that, every game after that, he was getting chipped and double teamed, and he hasn't really seen a lot of single matchups consistently. He'll get some one-on-ones sometimes. He's still trying to figure some things out. He added a lot of, and you heard him say, he added a lot of power to his game now. So he's still trying to figure out that balance between when should I use power, when should I use speed, how do I convert power, speed to power consistently. He's still figuring out some things, but eventually he'll put it all together. He'll put it all together. Don't know when it's coming, but it's coming. All right. Reese says, a win is a win is a win. 1 point, 100 points don't matter. 6 and 2. I knew you would say that, and you're 110% correct. But this was not what you thought it was going to be. But you're absolutely right. And I say this all the time. 3 weeks from now, nobody's going to look back and say, oh, man, they barely beat the Giants by 2 on that Monday night. They're just going to say, oh, yeah, they beat the Giants. Put that one in the left-hand column. Another tally mark. Let's keep the party going. Stack those dubs up like bricks. And at the end of the season, we'll go through those bricks. We'll count them, and we'll see if you got enough to get you a first-round bye. And so a win's a win's a win. It wasn't pretty, but more importantly, it was gritty, and it was a dub. And you got it done. That's all that matters. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Ali Side says, we got 4 minutes, so let's try to get through as many of these as we can. This game is actually better than I thought it would have been. I thought it was going to be a blowout. If Daniel Jones didn't throw those interceptions, Giants might have actually won this game. Facts. Absolutely facts. Reese says, I don't care how close it was. No one is going to look at the score when the season is over. I just said that. So, yeah, that is absolutely facts. I think people are going to get on you because you were talking reckless the other night. You were talking about a 40 burger being put up. And so that's why people were going to come at you. But it doesn't matter. It's a win. That's all that matters. Atlas says, okay, we got the universe wants us to lose game out of the way with the W. We're in for brighter games ahead. I don't think I damn sure didn't want you to lose this game. I don't know about anybody else. I don't know who this universe is that wanted you to lose this game. This had implications for my division. I did not want the Giants to win this game and come into the Washington game sky high thinking that they could win. This is similar to what happened the last time we played these bastards. They came off of a near victory versus Dallas, a game that they could have easily have won, but they found a way to lose because that's what you do when you're 1-7. And they came in the game and they beat us. And this is a very similar approach. Game that they feel like they could have easily have won. They let it slip through their fingers. The difference is this is a short week. Washington's coming off of a bye. They're rested, rejuvenated, and ready to go. I'm hoping that you get a different result this time. It's a different Washington team with a different mindset coming off of a win. They're looking to make it 2 in a row. They haven't beat the Giants in a while now. I think it's 3 straight. I don't know what the last result was in the matchup with the two teams in 2018, but they swept us in 2019. They beat us the first game in 2020. So that's 3 right there. If I had to guess, I'm trying to think back to Daniel Jones's, before Daniel Jones, what happened in that 2018 matchup. What was our record that year? I think we were 7-9. That was Gruden's second to last year. That was the year we started off. Yeah, because we went to the Meadowlands and won. That's the game we sacked Eli Manning like 8 times. That was an ugly game. I think we won that game like 17-3 or something. It was super close, and then Adrian Peterson broke off a big touchdown run. I think that's the last time we beat you because I think after that, yeah. We played you in Washington the second time, and you were up like 40-0 at halftime. That was the game where I lost my shit at halftime, and I was like, fire everybody. This shit is over. And they didn't fire everybody. And it wasn't over. And it should have been. Right then and there. So you're riding a 4-game win streak dating back to the last game in 2018. This shit's got to stop at some point. I think this is the week it stops. But you've beaten us 4 straight. Daniel Jones is undefeated. He's 3-0 against us. He's won 4 games in the league. And coincidentally enough, the other win came against this Tampa Bay team, and he almost made it a 5th win in his career, and all of them would have been against the same 2 teams. It's got to stop. And I think the buck stops here in week number 9, or at least we need it to. Got a super chat here from my man, JP. Thanks for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, JP, who writes, Dave Ghetto Fatass might be the worst GM in the league. Loves to tear down playoff rosters and screw up draft picks. He's not a good GM. I don't know if he's the worst in the league. I haven't assessed everyone else's situation. I know he's one of the worst in the league. That is for sure. I don't love his demeanor. He's got that smartest guy in the room approach. I know what I'm talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. Trust me, I got this. No, you don't. Yes, I do. Watch and see. And generally, that doesn't go over very well when shit doesn't work. You know, you can only get me with the, hey, I got this. Trust me, I got this once. If you don't got this after that one time, then you can't ever tell me again, trust me, I got this. Now, if you build up some equity and you do it 8 times and then you say, trust me, I got this, and then you don't do it, you still got 8 other times that you can look back and say, how many times did I not do it when I said I was going to do it? That one time, you can't kill me for that. I got 8 other times that I did do it. But Dave Gettleman, you look at his track record and you're like, hey, you effed up here and you effed up right here. And oh, how could we forget about right here? Remember the time that you did that? Yeah, yeah. We remember that. Yeah, that was pretty damn stupid. Like, you can't keep overlooking this stuff. Like, Daniel Jones is on his watch when everybody's like, bro, you did have 2 other first-round picks. You didn't necessarily have to pick Daniel Jones at 6. You do know that, right? And maybe he wouldn't have been there. Maybe. But we'll never know. Bottom line is, I don't think Dave Gettleman is a very good GM. I think most Giants fans would agree with that. And thus, he's probably going to get fired after the Giants go 3-13 or 2-14 or 4-12 at best this season. Don't ask me where those wins are coming from. They're more likely than not a 2-14, 3-13 team. They won't get to 4, I don't think. Anyway, that's going to do it. We've hit the hour threshold. Big win for the Buccaneers. Look, every win in this league is a big win. You know, whether it's by 1 or 21. You get the win and you move on. They made a ton of mistakes tonight. But I've always said, make mistakes and correct them while getting the dub. There's nothing better. Because you can correct somebody with a smile on your face when you win. I'm pissed off when we lose. So, you know, when you look at the Auburn corner sitting out there flat-footed, allowing Darius Slayton to run by him by 10 yards for a walk-in touchdown, we get to film study and we say, hey, no, that shit can't happen again. Eyes on the prize. Mind your luggage, okay? Your tag on your bag is right there. Grab it off the carousel. Let's roll. Stop looking at other people's luggage. You in the backfield. Why? Your luggage is right here running by you for a 65-yard touchdown. Don't do that. Same thing on the other side. Carlton Davis. What is it with these Auburn corners anyway? You love these guys, huh? Bruh. You flat-footed. Why? Keep everything in front of you. Especially when you're playing a team with a quarterback like Daniel Jones. Why in the world would you want to give up a 53-yard touchdown pass? Why? Why, when you know this guy is capable of taking his team on a 15-play drive and on the 16th play of that drive, he'll throw an interception or he'll fumble the football? Why would you not make them earn every single thing that they get? Why would you be nosy and try to make the play when all you got to do is do your job and he will allow you to make the play? Don't try to be special. Just do your job. They'll learn that on film, and they'll learn it with a win. And that's what you're looking for. Bucks get it done. It was not pretty, but it was gritty, and most importantly, it was a dub. 25-23. They're now 6-2, sole possession of first place in the NFC South, and they needed it because now it's a crash collision course game. Week 9, Bucks, Saints, rematch of Week 1, and this is important. Saints are going for the season sweep. They get it, more likely than not. They're going to be in the driver's seat to win this division. Bucks win this game, and they are then in the driver's seat themselves. So this is a massive matchup. We'll see if the Saints get their guys back or not. Should be a fun one for the Giants. Another heartbreaking loss. Another winnable football game, that your quarterback gave away, essentially. And although he was an arsonist in this game, because he set the fires, he tried to put it out at the end, but there was still a casualty. It came in the form of a loss. And that's a bitter pill to swallow, especially when you look at that 2-point conversion. Jason Garrett, who I thought did a magnificent job tonight. Say what you want about Redhead Jesus. I thought he pushed every right button tonight offensively. He had the Buccaneers defense on their toes the entire night from the first all the way to the fourth quarter, all the way to that 2-point conversion. He's wide ass open. And I don't know for the life of me what Daniel Jones is staring at. That's the first read on the play. Is your running back sprinting out into the flats? Throw it. He doesn't until it's too late. And the Bucs hold on 25-23. Giants drop to 1-7. 2 more interceptions thrown in the game for Daniel Jones, and they were costly interceptions. 10 Buccaneers points off of 2 Daniel Jones interceptions in a game that you lose by 2. Let that sink in. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me. Remember, if you haven't already hit the sub button, what are you waiting on? Hit that sub button, turn on that notification bell, and hit the thumbs up and support your man Louie T. And we'll chop it up again on Wednesday for the LouieTeeNetwork podcast, where you guys get to take over the show. We'll have social media maneuvers and then some. Look forward to chopping it up with you. The trade deadline would have come and gone. We'll have some more things to discuss. So I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you guys on Wednesday afternoon. Until then, you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Take care. God bless and good night.
LouieTeeNetwork.